Good morning. Hey, hey, hey. Let's see.
When I was in Brooklyn and Harlem, like especially like I don't know, it's something about Harlem that was just like I
Mhm.
like this.
Mrs. Harris said Yonkers. My family's from Yonkers. Mrs. Harris. Hey Tamira.
Hey,
Hey,
is
hey.
it Josie?
Yes.
Hi, beautiful. How are you?
I'm well. How are you today, my love?
Good. I love New York too. My grandkids are so funny. They think they're supposed to go to New York every year for their birthday.
Yeah, I love New York though. I can't wait to take my baby. I think I'm gonna probably try to take her because the busy season comes up in my job like the middle of October, and her birthday is at the end of October. So
Hmm.
I think I'm gonna try to do like a trip to New York because I don't know if I want to do. I don't know because maybe I could do both. Because I wanted to take her to like
Hey,
the
boo.
Sesame Street thing that's in Philly.
Hmm.
I want to take her there, but I want to go to New York and I want to do something before my busy season start at work. Because when my busy season start, I'm gonna be like on lockdown and I'm not gonna be able to really do nothing. I'm gonna be tired, exhausted. So I gotta really start like planning for that, like as far as like content and how and when I'm gonna go live and stuff like that, because I know that they're gonna be changing schedules and it's just gonna be crazy. But yeah, I really wanna. I can't wait to bring my baby to New York. Like, and I ain't gonna lie, like New York was the first place that made me stop letting the rain ruin like my what I had going on. Because when I went, it was like raining and I had went with my ex. This was the first time I went with my ex, and it was raining, and he was like, "I'm not going out there. It's raining. Da 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 da. Blah blah blah." So I'm like, "Well, I'm going out." You know what I'm saying? Because we were in Times Square. I'm about to go out. I don't care what you do. You can stay in this room if you want to, but I'm leaving. And I went down in the lobby, and I was about to go out, and they was like, "Do you want an umbrella?" I felt a little rich, like yeah, they was like, just bring it back when you come back or whatever like that. So I, went out and I was walking like the strip, Times Square and stuff like that. Just going to like the different like shops and stuff like that, like the souvenir shops and stuff. And it was fun. Like it was really fun. And then it eventually had stopped raining and stuff, and we ended up like going out and stuff. But we were like on this strip. I don't know where we were. I know we were in Brooklyn, but we were like on this strip, and there was like a whole bunch of like clubs, like different like clubs and stuff on the strip. And it was just so, and then they was playing music outside, and the music was banging like loud, like the stereos and stuff. And it's
Oh God.
because Biggie came on, and I started crying.
Oh my God.
And my ex boyfriend was like, "What are you crying for? Like, what is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "That's so emotional." We walking through Brooklyn, and it's like everybody was singing like it was Juicy that was on.
Mm.
And the whole, it was like so many people outside, and everybody was just sing like rapping the lyrics on cue. And I was just like, oh my God, it's so emotional. And he was like, girl, what's
What is
something wrong with
happening
you?
to
And
trauma for
I don't know,
me?
like, I'm the type of person where I cry. I'm a happy crier. Like, I will, like, if something really touched me, I'll start crying. And people are like, girl, what are you crying for? Like, I'm so happy. Like, I don't know, cause I'm such a like spiritual person like that. So if something moves me, like when people be saying like I was moved to tears, like I literally be moved to tears. Like I listen to certain songs and I just start crying, and it's like not cause I'm sad, it's just cause I feel it.
Right.
I don't know, I'm weird like that.
No, you're not weird. You're an empath.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Hmm.
very much so.
Yeah. I'm the
Very
same way too. So I don't even know why I'm sitting here laughing because I probably would have been the same exact way.
like yeah, I started crying. He was like, "Girl, you was sensitive. There's something wrong with you. Like, what is wrong with you?" And I said,
Oh, and
"Oh,
it's funny because when you first were going down that road of you were in New York and the music was blasting, it took me immediately to Biggie's Processional. And then you said, and they started playing Biggie. I was like, oh my
that's what it
God.
looked like. That's what it felt like. That's
Yeah, that's
exactly
what
what
I
it
was
felt like to me.
envisioning.
It felt like his you know, the videos, the footage that they have when they
Yes.
riding him through Brooklyn and stuff like that, and everybody was out. That's exactly what it felt like, and that's exactly what it looked like. And I was just, and I think that's what made me emotional and why I started crying and stuff. But it was nice. It was real nice. I really love New York. New York is one of those type of places where I go when I come home. I just feel so inspired because of the diversity that's there, and everybody is so
Mhm.
creative, and everybody got their own like style, and it's not like Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Everybody here is like everybody want to dress the same and look the same, and you know what I'm saying. New York is just like a melting pot.
Yep.
Um,
Everything
and
is
Yeah.
fun.
I really think that it's the capital of the United States, if you really ask me. But
Right.
um, I just really love it. It reminds me of home, in certain ways, and the
And where is home?
food, the people, because they was like, all the people are mean and stuff. No, I didn't get that when I went there.
Mhm.
What I got when I went there, everybody like, especially when I was walking around, everybody just came up to me, just started speaking Spanish. And I'm like, I don't speak Spanish. Like, I don't know Spanish. And they was like, you're not Dominican, and I'm like, no. And they be like, you're not, and I'm like, no.
I can see you passing for a Dominican.
Everybody say that, like, you're not Dominican, and I be like, no. Um, and it's so funny because I worked in a factory like a long time ago, and it was like all like it was a lot of like Hispanic people that worked in the factory, and this like it was like two guys that were there, that worked like on the side of me, and it was like a fruit factory, like a door, like the dough, like the fruit
Mhm.
cups and stuff. And they was like, and it was like even a lady, and they used to just always like do my work for me and stuff, like every day they'll do my work for me, right? And so at this time, I got like my hair in my head, you know what I'm saying? So my long bundles and stuff. So they just started talking to me one day because they wouldn't even say nothing. They'll just be like, take my stuff, and they'll start doing it for me. And so the guy started talking to me one day, and I was like, huh? And he was like, and I was like, I'm not Hispanic. And he was like, you not? And I'm like, no. And he was like, you don't speak Spanish? I said, no, I'm not Hispanic. And he was
Right.
like, really? And I was like, yeah, really. And he was like, oh. He was like, he was like, and he just kept asking me, like, are you sure? And I'm like, I think I'm pretty sure for a fact that
How do you not ask you if you're sure? Like,
my dad are melanated. Like, no, yeah, I am what I am. And
oh my God.
it was just so funny. And he just started, and you could tell he went to them and he said something in Spanish, and they all turned around and they looked at me, and they was like, oh.
Oh my gosh.
And
That is
it was
hilarious.
so funny. But every time I'm in New York, every time they come up, people just come up to me and they start, and it's mostly people looking for directions and stuff, and they come up to me and they just start speaking Spanish, and I be like, I don't know what you're saying.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know what y'all
I
talking
love
about.
traveling. Period. I just want to travel the world. That's what I want to do. I want to see the world, and I want to show my baby the world, and show her how different people and cultures and stuff like that live. And that's something that once you start doing that with your kids, it's like when they grow up, it's not too many things people can tell them. Like people can't
Yep.
really tell them nothing or show them anything, and they don't get excited about a lot of stuff. Especially if you have like little girls. I
Hmm.
do
Yes.
have a little girl, and she's not gonna get excited like nobody like not gonna be able to just tell her anything. And that's kind of how I want my child to be like. And not saying it like a sense of entitlement or just like that. It's just like well, especially when it comes to guys and stuff, because y'all know how guys are. Like you really can't show me nothing. My mama didn't kind of already showed me
Yep.
everything, so it's nothing that you can do to be. I don't want her to be easily impressed.
Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause at one point in my life, I was very easily impressed, and it was just like, oh, you got this, you got that, and then it's just like I was younger and I wasn't paying attention to like spirit as much as I do now. So it's like you may have this and have that going on, but you spiritually bankrupt at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
It's that, you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. You know,
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
I feel the same way. And I always tell my girls, listen, you have your whole life. There's plenty of fish in the sea, okay? don't rush any of that. Go explore, travel the world, meet new people, just worry about you, grow you mentally, spiritually, just worry about you. And then when that time comes and you're old enough, then you go and you do what you got to do. But travel first. If there's one thing I always tell the girls is travel, experience life on
Travel,
your own.
experience life, because there's so much stuff out there, and there's so much stuff that I haven't experienced. And I said I'm really about to start traveling the world. I'm about to, especially like this stuff that's coming out that's in Volume 2. I can't wait till Volume 2 drop, y'all. Like
So,
Volume,
No.
I just got done saying that, before y'all hop in on Volume 2 is really what's gonna put you in your bag.
mhm, that is true.
Some of those skills and you use some of those skills and stuff like that, Volume 2 is what's gonna put you in your bag for real. Volume 1 is like the kickstart. You can go in there, you can
Yep.
get your credits, you can get your credit fixed, you can get your business and stuff set up, you got the vendors list, you got all of that. That's just like a kickstart. You know what I'm saying?
The foundation.
Yep, the foundation, exactly. Volume 2 is really what's gonna put you in your bag if you go in there and you use that stuff. Cause I just ordered a few outfits from TikTok shop and I'm like, should I start doing a, TikTok affiliate or whatever like that? And I'm like, and I was like, I think I'm gonna start doing it or whatever like that. Like
My dog's
um
comfortable, apparently.
I feel like that's something that I can really do. You know what I'm saying? I'm silly. I can, you know what I'm saying? I look good in certain things. I'm just saying.
Really.
Period.
Certain outfits I look good in, so it's like, why not? So, and then it's somebody that's in DBA that did the TikTok affiliate, and I know she said that she made like 40K in like 2 months, and I'm so mad because I don't. It was like when I first started out, like within my first week or so, and I don't remember who it was.
40K in 2 months?
Like 40K in 2 months just doing like the TikTok affiliate, doing the TikTok
Ask in
shop.
the community.
You said ask her in the community?
Ask in the community who it was, if anybody knows who it was or remembers.
I will. I will.
I'm sure
That's
they'll
that's a
make
good idea. And I was thinking about that, but I'm like, I don't wanna, you know what I'm saying? But that's something that I am gonna ask in the community. Like I don't know who I was talking to, but somebody said that they made 40K in one TikTok shop. And whoever it is, show yourselves.
Make yourself known.
raise
Show your
your
face.
hand. No, for real. Especially with the new module that's coming out for TikTok Shop, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be interested in knowing exactly, who's been through that, who has the experience, how did they get started, things like that. So on top of the
And
module,
she may be the one who's doing the TikTok shop
yep,
She
module.
might be.
yep.
Because I was gonna say if she not, she can do that and she can make her own. She can make her own digital product on that alone. Because if I gotta go, y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. She could probably make her own module, like,
Exactly.
and
Yeah, it's a very good chance that she's the one who's actually creating that module. And if not, I'm sure, at some point we'll figure out who she is.
right.
Because I mean, if you are doing anything online and you have really any amount of success, you should be sharing that. I'm not saying tell all your trade secrets
Mhm.
and for free, but you can build your audience and you can open so many doors by sharing what you know and how you got to where you are, because other people, it's a great way to grow a following because people want to know, and they will tune in. And once you build that following and then you take it to building a community, you can monetize it. And it doesn't even have to be with monetizing it with what you do. You can monetize it in some other way that is going to, that audience would be likely to buy from. So
Right.
I always tell people, like, there's no greater time to be alive than now. Like, there's no time to be alive. Like, you can take free apps. Like, TikTok is free, Facebook is free, Instagram is free, Pinterest, YouTube, all free, right? And you can combine those with free apps like Canva, like ChatGPT, like Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, and you can literally create money. I mean, the next best thing, the next best way to be able to print money would end you in federal prison, right? To counterfeit. So instead of counterfeiting, you can literally create money by creating products and solving other people's problems. I've heard this saying, it's like solve your own problem and sell the solution.
Yes.
Like,
That, listen, that speaks volumes into so many people because there's so many people that have the problem but just don't have the solution. So if you
exactly.
have the solution, share that solution, you know?
Exactly. I
So,
mean, and people like Gary Vee says by like 2030, like, a certain amount of creators, it's just going to be people having a camera on and they're sharing their life, right? And the sound might even be off, but you're just watching them and watching, it's kind of creepy to me, but
yeah, I agree. I agree. You just be
but
watching,
that kind of stuff
scrolling.
has been around for a while, and so he said that might be the next big creator thing. And I think about how many people, like, I will stop the scroll and watch. They're making their husband's lunch for the day, and that's all their content is
Right.
them making lunch, and then they monetize it by showing the heated lunchbox and how it keeps the food hot. Right? There's just so much opportunity, and I always say there's no reason, there's no excuse for an adult in 2024 to say that they are broke. And when you have a $1,000, $2,000 supercomputer in the palm of your hand, you just have to learn how to use it, learn how to use it to create, and to create income and even wealth is completely possible.
Absolutely. I think we get stuck in this mindset of we spend so much money, especially on our cell phones. Our cell phones are thousands and thousands of
Mhm.
dollars, and we're spending our time and our money scrolling on social media, and you're doing it for free,
Right.
right? So why not turn that scrolling time into, time that you can create money or utilize your cell phone, that cell phone bill especially
Hmm.
as a bit, as a business write-off.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And you're paying. The reason there's a saying, and it goes something like, I used to say it way back in the day. It's something like, if you're not paying, you're the product, right? And on social media, our attention is the product. So I have this saying, I say, when you stop the scroll, you're paying the toll. And how you pay that toll is with your eyes and ears, what you're paying attention to with your eyes and your ears. And that's why they're called influencers, because they're leveraging their influence over us when we stop the scroll, and we're literally paying the toll. And so I always encourage people to become a part of the circulation of currency. Okay. Get in the flow of the circulation of currency and get your piece of it, because the creator is getting paid, the creator and influencer is getting paid, the brand is getting paid, and TikTok is definitely getting paid, and they're getting paid multiple ways. They're getting paid by ads, they're getting paid because I think they take like 8% of the TikTok shop sales, so they are getting their money, and you're actually paying, and it actually can be damaging if you're paying too much attention to the wrong things and to the wrong people, because you become what you pay attention to.
Yeah. And you're putting out more than you're receiving,
Yes.
And I was going through TikTok the other day and somebody had mentioned we follow these influencers, right? And we're
Mhm.
watching their content and we're giving them views. So we're helping them to make money, right?
Yes. Mhm.
And if you look on their accounts, they have millions and millions of followers and they're not following anyone back.
Right.
Nobody is being followed back. If
Mhm.
anything, they have like a handful of people that they're following on their social media.
Exactly.
So why is it that we're putting so much time and effort towards these influencers to help them generate income and we're helping them monetize their pages, but we're not applying that same type of energy and effort to ourselves?
And not only that, girls, some of these people, it's going to their head. I unfollowed somebody the other day because she got jazzy me with me in the comments. And I mean, I get it, because we even had a situation on a multi-live last night. And it's like, you don't really know when you are where we are right now, right? People that watch me frequently, they know my tone, they know when I'm joking, and so I know, for example, when I'm watching M just joined, right? I know her personality, so I can read and hear her voice when I read her comments and things, right? And so people will forget when they're commenting, when they're reading their comments, you might assume that that person is being jazzy, or snazzy when they're not. And so, in the position of influence, it's better to err on the side of caution. Like last night, the only reason I said what I said, because once I looked at that profile and those pictures made me assume certain things, not knowing that that's not what the person really looked like, right? Because it came off a certain way. And so you have to, we have to remember that when we are in on stage, when we are in the public eye, those are things, that's stewardship, right? I talk about stewardship a lot. That comes with the territory of being given, because what is given can also be taken. And when we are given the ability to have totality, to have influence, that comes with a certain amount of responsibility, right? And part of that responsibility is to err on the side of caution. And I get it, because, the trolls come out, and some people, their content brings out even more trolls and more aggressive trolls. But she was just overly nasty, right? And I've experienced that with multiple quote unquote influencers. They get to a certain amount. Girl, do you know what she said to me?
What'd you say?
She said, watch your attitude, or if you want to continue to have access to my content or something like that. Girl, yeah. I was like, first of all, watch your tone. Who is you talking to?
Okay.
And
Hold up.
baby, you ain't ever got to worry about Tamira S. Hamilton in your content ever again. Because this is
Right.
the last interaction you will ever have with me.
And
Because
I'm sure.
she tried to
Go ahead.
say that again.
No, I was gonna say, and I'm sure by that remark from her, she not only just lost you. I'm sure there's other people that saw that as being, oh no, and went about their business.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And this is it, right? And I think it was about the whole E. Kane situation, right? And she had brought up Morgan Bailey, and she had, in her dissertation of the video, she said Morgan passes for, like a passe blanc, and I was like, y'all think Morgan bad? Because Morgan don't look whitey to me. Now she might look Middle Eastern, or you can tell she's a woman of color, was my whole point. And that's all I said. I was like, yeah, she's what, she's passing to y'all. I said, if anything, because I did at first, I thought she was Middle Eastern, because I was like, this Middle Eastern girl got a lot of swag. She know the vernacular. Like, you don't come across that a lot. And then I discovered that she was in fact biracial. And so that's all I said. There was no anything behind it. And she was like, no. And I said what I said. That girl looks, I was like, okay. I just was asking the question, but go off. And that's when she came back. What she says, like, you know what? You don't have to worry about me. You do not have to worry about me, because I can see you have growing to do yet, to grow into the platform that God has given you. And so I'm going to allow you the space to grow without me. And I'm going to go over here to my people. That's what I love about DBA. I'm going to go over here and be around my people that, have, positivity. And we're not perfect, like the situation last night, but it's very easy to say, hey, my bad. And we fix it and we move on. But some of these influencers, like the whole EK thing, and even Fanita, the success is just going to people's heads, right? They're
Yep.
just going way left, and it's really weird.
It is.
It's
That is
really weird.
weird. And a big thing too is that a lot of people point out, especially with Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn, for instance,
Hmm.
she's making like crazy amount of money, thousands and
Hmm.
thousands and thousands of dollars, right, in this program. And she is in no way, shape, or form somebody that allowed that to get to her head,
No.
has switched up on anybody. She is one that is out here informing everybody, giving everybody the keys and the tips and, all the resources that we need for us to be able to get to that point where she is. As she's elevating, she is bringing us with her.
Yeah, she is awesome. And she was definitely a huge reason, because M is whose link that I used. I saw her first and sat in her live, and we were chatting back and forth in the comments and that. And so I told her when I was ready, I was going to use her link. And it's not that she didn't convince me, but when I saw Brooklyn, that like sealed the deal. That was like, yes, I'm definitely in, because just her, I don't know, her presence and just
She's
how,
genuine.
yeah, yeah, it's just really, really, and and M is very human. And I was like, okay, these are people, and I'm not going to lie, a huge part of my decision to join DBA was that it was women of color that
Mhm.
created it. That
Mhm.
that really meant a lot to me, and an understanding that it was to serve an underserved market. Notice I didn't say underprivileged, an
Right.
underserved
Underserved.
market, meaning that some of these other programs out here, don't necessarily, they'll welcome it, but like the conversation of faceless content came up last night, and that, like, I could do a whole like series
Mhm.
about the pros and cons of faceless content. And when you look at, because like if I were to do a faceless account, and I've started them and I just never can finish them because it just doesn't feel authentic to me.
Right.
And I can look at a faceless account and I can tell when, because they're very big into aesthetic, and that aesthetic is going to tell me, right? And so when we do a faceless account, it just has a different look, a different aesthetic, a different feel, and I can tell
Mhm.
that, and so I know if I can tell, they can tell. So if we're doing a faceless account simply to be able to get them to buy from us, for example, where we might feel that they wouldn't buy from us because it's us, I don't know that that's the right reason
Right.
to do it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because I think you can still tell. So, like, if you're mixing in and your faceless account has diversity, that's usually a red flag, not in a bad way. To me, it's a green flag, but it's a sign that the um the person behind it is probably somebody who values diversity. I'll
Right.
put it that way.
Yeah. No, I think, you have a great point to that. And I jumped in on the live when you guys were speaking about it last night, and I did catch some of the conversation, and I heard the conversation between you and Wendy, and you guys were talking about the faceless and things like
Yes,
that. And I agree, just like Wendy had mentioned, if they don't want to type of energy, if they're not purchasing from me for that reason, then keep it moving. Don't get it from me, get it from somebody else. Because at
exactly.
the end of the day, it is our names that go in when
Hmm.
this person makes this purchase. So if you're going in with ill intentions, keep
Hmm.
that energy over there. Because especially
Right.
in the community, we don't have that type of energy over here.
Exactly, exactly. And to be honest with you, I know there are people who look like me that aren't going to buy from me because it's me.
Hmm.
So, I mean, is there are just period going to be people that are not going to buy from you because it's you? And rather than focus on those people, because I used to back in 2013, 2014, when I first started, I would be so butthurt that my friends and family wouldn't support me. And then somebody said something to me one day and they said, well, don't worry about them, just worry about you. And when I started really just worrying about me and developing me, things got better. And some of them came around and supported, and some will still never. Okay. And so instead of focusing on that negative energy, the people who won't, I prefer to focus on the people that will and that do. It's the same thing with like email. So many people, they can have 20 people subscribe to their email list in a day. But then they just are so upset that two people unsubscribed, and that will ruin their entire day. And it's like, but you're up 18. You're up 18. 20 people chose you. Why are we worried about the ones that didn't choose us? They made a
Exactly.
decision. That they did. Congratulations. They made a decision. They got
Yep.
off the list.
It's always that there's a glass half full or half
Hmm.
empty theory. Like, how do you view it? Is it full to you or is it empty? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Right.
And I always look at it as it's full. It's halfway full. A win is a win, regardless of how small that win is.
A
Okay?
win is a win.
Hello. You got to start somewhere. Even if
Exactly.
you have a list of subscribers like you had mentioned and you have 20 people and two left, that's good. Good riddance. That just means
Exactly.
that those two people were not there to help you serve your purpose.
Exactly. They made a decision. That's what our job really is as marketers, is to help people make buying decisions, right?
Right.
2011 data said people were looking at 28 pieces of information before they made a buying decision, right? I remember in the late 1900s when I bought my first DVD player and Circuit City was still around. And so I was all over the
Yeah.
Circuit City website, all over Best Buy, reading reviews, right? So when I heard that, this was like 2015 when I first heard that, I was like, I absolutely believe that, right? And I think now it's upwards of like 77, 78 pieces of information
Because there's
that
so
people
much
can
out
look at
there.
because there's so much out there. And
Right.
so we want to be providing the information to help them make buying decisions. And sometimes that buying decision is to still buy the product, just not the product that you offer. They choose a product that is better suited to their needs, and it's okay. It
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely okay because there's more than enough out here for
Yep.
all of us to eat.
I agree. I definitely agree. And I always, like I tell everyone in that jumps in my lives or that asks me questions about the program, I will school you about the program. I will let you know. You can even get a sneak peek just to see without even purchasing anything. You can see everything you need to see so that you can make that sound decision and you can make an informative decision
Mhm.
as to whether or not this is something that's going to
Exactly.
work for you.
Exactly, because an informed customer, an educated customer is going to be a more satisfied customer. The more satisfied they are, the more likely they are to not only return,
Right.
but they are also going to be more likely to refer people to you, refer their friends and family, their network to you. And
Right.
so that's why I'm a big educator when it comes to my marketing.
I'm the same way. If I can school you on something, I can drop
Mhm.
some knowledge. I'm more than happy to sit down and chat with you. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have. I'll even show you the data if you want to see the data.
Right.
If what we're discussing is not convincing or if it's not helping to answer your questions or provide you with clarity, I'll show you whatever you need to see. If that's going to help you
Exactly.
make a decision, we work together or you decide you want to go elsewhere, at least I know I helped you with that decision, regardless of the
Exactly.
route that you decide to take, because
Yep.
that's my main reason behind, dropping this knowledge and providing this information is because I want people to be more informed. I want people to know it's not just one route that you can take to be able to survive out here. Like there's so many possibilities and resources that you guys can utilize. And I think people are just not informed enough about it.
Well, part of it is we've been bamboozled.
Yeah. Yep.
We've been bamboozled, right?
Highly
Like,
influenced.
if my family meant well, but they taught me get a good education, get a good job, and I thought that was going to lead to happily ever. And I quickly found out that was not the case, especially for a woman who looks like me. And everything doesn't always come back to that, but it is always there in underlying and a factor, whether we want to admit it or not. And so I think a lot of us think, especially if we have grandparents who worked somewhere for 30, 40, 50 years and they retired, we think that, oh, you're going to get a job and you're going to work that one job for the rest of your life or that one industry, that one company for the rest of your life. And that doesn't really exist anymore. And I
Yeah.
love this guy, Dan Coe, who's on YouTube. And he said that the only person who is expected to do one thing for their entire life is the slave. And I
Mm.
was like, oh, okay. Okay. So the only person expected to learn one skill and do that one skill until they die is the person who is enslaved. And
Hmm.
so if you want to free yourself, that's the first step. This is what I took from it. That's the first step to freeing yourself is understanding that, you know, there are people who will knock you for being a serial entrepreneur. And I think that's great because you're figuring it out. And if you learn something from each little thing that you're trying, when you do hit that right thing, you're going to have a various experiences
Yep.
to help make that thing even better. And that's actually what makes it successful because you've tried all these different things
Hmm.
and you picked up things along the way that are helping you and strengthening you in what it is that you are supposed to be doing.
Right. You become seasoned. So
Hmm.
you become seasoned in knowing what works for you, what doesn't work for you.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of people probably don't know is that, for example, like Walt Disney didn't make it big until I think he was in his 50s.
exactly. Yep.
So it's like he trial and error.
Hmm.
You're not going to know if it's going to work for you unless you try. And if you don't try, you're never going to know.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I think they said Henry Ford failed a whole lot of times before he succeeded,
right.
right?
It's a matter of, just finding what works for you, trying it, because if you don't try it, you're not going to know. And let's say that you do end up trying it and the resources that you utilize end up working out for you.
Mhm.
That's a blessing.
Yep, it
That's an
is.
absolute blessing, because not many people get to try something, new, especially a new skill set, and utilize it, and to be able to be successful in it is,
Right,
is very slim to none. So if you're able to do that and you have the resources that can help you to achieve that, then why not?
right.
What do you have to
And there's
lose?
still, I'm not, I hate the struggle Olympics, but there's still, like when people start play that game, I can't stand it. But there's still character building that happens
Right.
on the journey up, right?
Yep.
There's character building, there's skill set building, and I always say everything I have learned along the way, it served its purpose. It served a purpose at some point later on where you
Right.
understood, you could look back and understand, well, that's why I went through that, so that when this happened, I was prepared and I knew what to do.
Handle it. Yep, exactly. So I think that, having the fear, especially me, like I had that fear of, well, what if it doesn't work? And, what if I do this and then I just end up flopping on my face, and it just, you can't go in with that type of mindset, because you're already setting yourself up for failure.
Right.
you know so you have to be able to believe in yourself and be ready and mentally prepared to take that leap and to move
Hmm.
forward, and to be able to say, I can do this. If I can apply myself when it comes to work, like your regular 9 to 5 or whatever it is that you're doing right now, if you can apply that in your outside life for somebody else, you can definitely apply that for yourself.
Exactly. And so much of what we do is literally just being a step or two ahead of those that you are leading. And often we feel like we have to already be at the destination, and they just need somebody to help them get to the next step, right? If you can help them get to the next step, you will have created, a lifelong fan. Let me look up this quote, because I say this quote all the time. I should know it by heart by now, but I never want to misquote it. It's by Blair Warren. I don't even know who Blair Warren is, other than he has something to do with advertising. And the quote is, people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies, right? So by you being just a couple steps ahead and helping make the path, helping blaze the trail, that's what you're creating is, people who will do anything for you. And that's what we see. But we're also beginning to see the death of celebrity, right? Where people are not worshiping celebrities anymore because they're starting to see how dangerous that can be. I'll never forget, I fought hard for this position. I was in a role and I moved laterally. I hated the location that I was in, and I wasn't supposed to be able to move yet. But I made my case and got my move. And then when I got there, the boss who wanted me to come over there, she flipped on me because another girl came in and she flipped on me. And I was so upset and I was angry and I was crying. And I remember talking to my mom and I was like, I think I need to just quit and I need to look for another job. And she said, no, I don't think so. I think you're going through this to help the next person. And within a year, I was promoted. And the person that I went through all of that to help was my employee.
See?
Yeah.
See how that works?
Yep. And I helped him get promoted. But even before I helped him get promoted, he was going through a really tough time in life. And he would have lost his job had anybody else been managing him. But because of who I was and the training and education that I had, I knew that I could see the signs that some of the things that were happening with him at work, that there was something going on at home. I could recognize it. And so I got him to tell me what that was, and I helped him. I told him, okay, so, his home was in foreclosure. And so
Wow.
I told him, make these phone calls and say this and do that. And did you go to the post office and mail it? Okay, go take your 15-minute break. The post office is a block away. Go get your cashier's check and go mail that. And so, like, he still calls me to this day when he needs advice. But that conversation I had with my mama, she was like, no, you need to go. It's what basically I call it her civil rights speech, right? It was her reminding me of how many people had gotten, hosed by the fire department, had dogs, sicked on them in order for me to be able to have the education, to be able to have the position. And it might not look like that for me in the present, but that's what I was doing. As I was being the firing squad, I was taking it in order to be able to help, to be in position to help the next person. And when it came to pass, I was like, oh, okay, I see what happened here.
Everything happens for a reason. I'm telling you. And I have a similar story to that. I was working for a non-for-profit agency, and I was offered a position at the time for a higher salaried position.
Mhm.
And I was speaking with my supervisor of my current employer, and I was saying, um, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. This is what they're offering me, and I'm planning on leaving. And she was like, she asked me to stay. Please don't go. Stay. I really need you here. I need you on the team. We got to build up the team. I have things in store for you if you just work with me. Me being me, I'm like, okay, you know what? I want to stay, help build the foundation, help, just to move things forward and just to be that team, like a team leader and to just help her. Can you believe 2 weeks later, she came to me and she said, I was offered a position and I'm going to take it. So I'm going to be leaving.
Mhm.
And I sat there in disbelief and I said, you wanted me to stay here. I
Yep.
turned down the job to stay here to help you build, and you're taking off on me?
Yep.
You're taking off on me? So at that point, I felt defeated and I was so heartbroken because I was like, you wanted me to stay to help you, and that's what you do. That was a lesson. Okay.
Yep.
I needed to go through that to learn
Mhm.
about not only myself, but how other people operate.
Yeah.
In a sense, I was a little naive at that point, right? Oh,
Mhm.
she's looking for the best, you know, the best, she's looking for the, she's looking to support me and not thinking that she's looking to only support herself.
Right.
I was a naive in that thought process, thinking that I'm going to just stay because she wanted me to stay and she wants to help me grow.
Right. Exactly. Right.
No,
You have to make those decisions based on you, not on anybody else. You have
exactly.
to, yeah, for you and your family.
Yep. So at that point, I stood for maybe, I want to say 6 months after she had left, and she went to another position. And lo and behold, I left that position. She had called me and she said, I have something that you might be interested in. And it's for like a CFO position,
Hmm.
which was hot, like a level higher than she was at. But I turned it down. I said, I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
Only because of the experience that I had from her in the past.
Mhm.
And I just learned that the individual that had taken the CFO position that she had offered me ended up leaving because of the toxic work environment that they were at.
Yeah.
So it's like, things happen for a reason, and you
They
cross paths
do.
with people and you experience things, whether it's good or bad, but it's for a reason. It's to help build your characters, to help build your confidence, it's to help you, in your career, in your personal life. It's just you go through things for a reason. And I feel like a lot of people, tend to fight or tend to look at the negative in a lot of those situations.
Mhm.
And you can't, because it's only going to help you in the long run.
So much of it is mindset
Yeah.
and, fixing your mindset and strengthening your mindset, because there's that analogy of the butterfly in the cocoon. And if you tear that cocoon away too fast, the butterfly, when it emerges, won't make it because the wings aren't strong enough, because when it's moving its wings while it's in the cocoon, that's actually strengthening its wings, and that's what gives it the power to fly. So what you just said made me think of that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. And I feel like, especially with the DBA program, along with my life experiences, that has gained like helped me gain so much confidence in myself and knowing that I can do this.
Yeah.
If I can start something that I've never even done before
Mhm.
and start to become successful in what I'm doing, I can do anything. Like you can't
Girl.
nothing, okay? You can't tell tell me nothing right
Can't
now.
tell me nothing, nothing. I went through a really tough period with my time, with my family, tough period, time period with my family when I decided that I was done with corporate America because I had worked in a really toxic work environment and like it was just bad. And so I decided I was done and I was going to build me a business online. And certain people in my family just had a big problem with that, right? And you know, I remember the day that I was in the car with my friend, and I looked at her and I said, "You know what? There is nothing more that anybody can take from me. Everything that would matter that somebody could take from me has been taken from me. So
Right.
there is absolutely zero way that I'm not going to succeed at this point." And I just went. I don't want to cuss, but I went ham. I went ape. And I did it. And I did it, right? Have there been ups and downs? Yes. You
That's
know, but
true.
there that's just part of life, right? There's going to be trials, there's going to be tribulations, and you just get stronger every time. But I just remember that I hit resolve, right? When you read the Four Agreements by, was it Don Miguel Reese? You know, he says there's four emotions that lead to change: anger, fear, resolve, and disgust. And in that moment, I remember feeling all four, but the strongest was resolve. I was just resolved.
Mhm.
Like, come heaven, hell, or high water, I'm going to
I'm
win.
gonna do it. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And you have to have that mentality with anything and everything that you do. Anything
Yes,
and everything that you do, you have to have that type of mentality. It's the only way you're gonna
the
succeed.
only way.
The
This is
only way, guys. I'm a firm believer that you become your thoughts, right? So if
yes,
you're constantly thinking negatively, you're constantly thinking you can't do it, you're constantly thinking of the stresses, the anxiety, the disappointment, your life starts to become that anxiety, the
right.
stress, the disappointment. But if you start setting up goals, you know you can achieve those goals, you start thinking of success, you start thinking of positivity, your life is going to change and become that.
Exactly.
That I'm a firm believer in the energy you put out is the energy you get back.
Hello, hello. You attract what you are.
Exactly. If you're constantly putting out all the bad, you're gonna
Mhm.
keep getting all the bad. If you're putting out good, you're doing good by people, you're doing good by yourself. Do good to yourself, guys. Take care of
And
yourself.
that and that is why I'd rather create content for the people that want me and want to do business with me and want to have what I have versus, you know, reacting and creating another identity, another, you know, whatever it is you're creating with the type of faceless pages I think people are targeting.
Mhm.
I would rather, instead of doing that, I would rather focus, because at some point you got to show your face.
Right.
I had a faceless page on Instagram. I never really approached it though from the standpoint of, oh, I'm doing this so that they won't know who I am. It more so just became out of the relationship with the company that I was working with. They had
Mhm.
commissioned all these great makeup artists to put these looks and stuff together. So I was just reposting all of those, and lo and behold, it really was like a faceless account, and it was very successful. Over 25,000 followers, had was getting orders in my sleep from all around the world, right? But I think people have to understand there's the aesthetic look of a faceless account, but then there's also like the shade room
Mhm.
is a faceless account. And I think certain demographics, they are going to respond to certain types of faceless accounts
Right.
better than they are to that whole aesthetic thing. So
Mhm.
I think we are we have the right idea, but I think we might be targeting the wrong one, right? We're thinking more of that faceless aesthetic account that you might learn in some of the higher end MRR programs. But I think when I'm a big fan of, okay, like M says, chew the meat and spit out the bones. Okay, so faceless account. But I think when it comes to a certain demographic, that faceless account is better off being something like an aggregated or curated news or gossip site. You know, think along the lines of the Shade Room
Right.
or TMZ versus, you know, whatever the latest aesthetic is, the latest Pinterest aesthetic.
Right. The trend that's going on right
Yes.
now. Yeah. No, I agree. I was gonna, stick with just doing the faceless
Hmm.
account, but I decided to do mixed. So I do have some with
Yeah,
my face. I have some faceless content on there because I do want people to see and to be. They need to know who they're interacting with.
exactly.
Make
Because
them.
if you build an account of people who are only there because they thought you were one thing that you're not, when they find out, and they're going to eventually find out because it's the internet and it's 2024,
Right.
they're going to find out who it is and you're going to lose them because they were never yours anyway.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's better off. And I'm not saying that's why you created your faceless account. I think there's tremendous value in faceless accounts. My whole thing is I would not suggest just creating an account just to circumvent a group of people who wouldn't really want to work with you anyway. I just don't think that that is right. But yeah, like yesterday, I didn't feel like being on camera, and I even looked halfway decent. I mean, I did lives, but I didn't feel like recording. Because as much as I've been going live, creating content for short form on top of going live can be a lot for me, especially
Mhm.
with everything that I have to do. So on Sundays I shoot a bunch of B-roll. So I just threw up a bunch of B-roll, 7-second videos with words, right? So technically that's faceless account. I mean, faceless content. So
Right.
I always mix it.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think it's good to mix it so that people
Mhm.
know exactly who whose content are they watching, and
Right.
and add value to your content, guys. Don't just. I feel like a lot of the time, some of us in the beginning can come off spammy because even
Hmm.
when I was looking at my content in the beginning, I was like, "Oh, girl, no," hello, slow your roll a little bit. Like people
Bro.
need to know, inform them first. But
Yeah.
using the resources inside the academy, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is what I gotta do. This is what's gonna
Yeah.
help me, with more engagement and more views and more, getting the word out there, more knowledge and information. So, like looking at my content now, it's like, all right, now you're starting to pick up
Yeah.
what they're putting down in the academy, okay? 'Cause I just listen, I jumped in running thinking I got this, and then I look back at my content and I'm just like, that's gotta go.
Yeah,
That's
I saw
got to
somebody's
go.
account and I was like, that's kind of cringe. Like, there's
Yeah.
dollars, there's money everywhere. And it's like, I could see, like one every 30 posts,
Right.
flashing some money and that I wouldn't be. But it was just a little cringe. And I think somebody must have said something to the person because their latest content has been a little, a
Toned
little
down.
less.
They toned it down. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I listen. I'm like I said, my main reason to do this is to inform everybody, to provide the knowledge, to show them there's other resources out there, and everything that comes after that is just a bonus. It's a plus.
Exactly.
I'm always one to be helpful. I love to help people. I love to inform people of new things. I'll talk on here all day, guys. You guys got questions? I will chit chat all day. We can hang out all day.
Oh, that's
Unfortunately,
good to
I
know
can't,
because
but
sometimes I feel like I'm just talking to myself. So, and
girl,
then
no.
I'll end. So yeah, I'll know to hit you up.
Yeah, no, I'll talk and I'll talk and I'll talk. And that's another thing too, like especially with going live. At first, when I first started, I was like, "Oh my God, like I'm gonna sit here, what am I gonna talk about? Like I'm just gonna be in my, in the live and people are just gonna sit here and stare at me. Like we're gonna stare at each other, I guess, even though I could just see your picture. But I just started chatting and just, be
Mhm.
your authentic self, your true self, and the right people are gonna gravitate towards
They
you, you
definitely
know?
will.
You don't have to put a facade on and act like somebody that you're not. Just be you. And naturally people will just gravitate and want to hear what you're talking about and they'll want to learn. Everybody wants to learn,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I
I'm
can't, I don't
passionate.
know. I really, until DBA, I really had no interest in of what the MRR courses were selling. I just had no interest because I had my own courses in that, but there was just something about DBA that just kept pulling me in. Like I just, when I would see somebody was talking about DBA, I would immediately go into the live. And that's when I was like, that's because this is the stuff that you love. So yeah, you should join. And, just seeing the professionalism in and like, just because I tell people, just because DBA is priced lower than the rest, don't think that is sloppy or that is just a bunch of trash stuff. It's just as good, and in some cases, probably even better. But they're all different, and they all serve their market. And I see people marketing both, and that's fine. Maybe one day I will get one of those other courses. I just haven't felt the need to. But I was seeing where I was missing out by not having. So, I mean, I had one at $50, but having something a little higher price that people could not only learn from but also make money from, especially here on TikTok. And then in the last few days, I've really seen where, oh, I could, really also, because I convert a lot on Facebook. Okay, so I need to bring this into my Facebook strategy as
Right.
well.
Yeah, and it's just I was on live one time talking about DBA and just, showing them exactly what's inside the academy, what we have to offer. And this young lady was like, I can guarantee you that course is like $600, isn't it? You're selling a $600 course. I said, first of all, I'm not selling anything, love. I said, I'm sharing the program that I'm in. If you want to join in, you can. I'll give you the information that you need, but I'm not selling it. And it's not $600.
Right.
And she was like blown away at the price. And she was like, there's no way it's that much. And I was like, yeah. And I think she's the one that actually went and joined after I had
Yes.
that conversation. She went and joined in because she could not get over the fact that it was only $111.
Exactly, exactly. And I've been around a long time. So I've actually been buying PLR and MRR for years. I have a drop box that's over capacity with
Wow.
all the PLR and MRR I've bought over the years. And there is nothing like what has been coming out in recent years. This stuff is way different.
Right.
Some of that older stuff, especially from like 2010 and that, a lot of that stuff was written by people whose English first language isn't English, and it's just very basic, and that's what it was supposed to be for. I would buy PLR, like my first course that I created. I literally created the course, right? It was around defining your ideal client and content, and even it originally had Facebook ads in there.
Okay.
And I found a PLR, by a really good quality PLR, that all I did was I stripped away and I used the documents to
Right.
support my course. So I didn't have to create documents and I didn't have to pay somebody else to do it. So for
Mhm.
like $30, I got the documents that went in this course that I made tens of thousands of dollars with. It's actually how I was able to quit the job that I hated when I created
Right.
that course. And so that's always been my experience with PLR. So when I hear some of these people poo-pooing and acting snotty about DBA and PLR and MRR. And I'm like, you think that I don't know your secret? I know your secret. I
Right.
know that you're using PLR and MRR. So many people do because it's just a smart business move. It's not plagiarizing. You're taking out what you need from it. It's like buying a house and gutting it. And
Right.
then, you're putting up
Making
your
your
own
own.
drywall, you're putting up your own crown moldings and all these other things. That's all it is.
Right. And it's, the saying, and I'm sure people have heard it before, is work smarter, not harder, right?
Exactly.
So that's all it is you're working smarter, you're not working harder. It's the information and the content and the products are there for you. You make it your own, even a little tweak here and a tweak
Yep.
there, you're making it your own and you're just reselling it, you know?
Exactly.
A lot of people do that.
Hmm.
A lot of people do that.
Well, that's all a franchise is. You're buying the
Exactly.
systems.
Exactly.
You're buying
That's
the operating manual, and they're telling you exactly where you have to buy stuff from, where you buy your supplies from.
it's just we're doing it digitally. You
Hmm.
have these franchises that are doing, they have tangible goods. We're
Yep.
doing it digitally. There's it's the same thing.
Exactly.
I think that, people tend to look at digital marketing and, that oversaturation comment too. A lot of people look at it and say, "Oh, it's oversaturated. It's oversaturated." It's
No,
really not.
it's not anywhere near.
No.
It's not anywhere near oversaturated. I went live and I showed that last night. Like you can see a little piece of it here. If this is the life cycle, DBA is like right here.
Hmm.
All the money is to be made when it's in momentum, when it's going through rapid growth. And it looks like we're growing rapidly right now. And we are, but that's not like hyper growth. Like
No.
hyper growth is when, it's off the rails and mistakes are being made and it feels real messy, but that's because it's hyper growth. You literally can't keep up with the growth. So we're still way down here in
Hmm.
the beginning phases. And Digital marketing is a highly paid skill set. It is not a business model, it is not a product, it is not an offer. It is a highly paid skill set that actually supports other business models like network marketing and direct sales, affiliate marketing, small, it's kind of erasing, but small business and local businesses, right? And there's overlap, right? This area in here and here and here is where the overlap is. And but the problem is so many people came from, especially particularly network marketing and direct sales, where they're used to saying they're in network marketing. They're out here saying they're in digital marketing like it's a business model like network marketing, when it is not. It
Mhm.
is a skill set. It's a highly paid skill set that is going to help scale and grow other business models. You
Yep.
can take it, you can use direct marketing digital marketing to grow your direct marketing, your network marketing, direct sales business, right? I did for years. Back
Yeah.
when they were telling people that you don't need digital marketing. Yeah, you do. Yeah,
You
you
do.
do.
This day and age, you need that. And
You
it's
do.
crazy. It's crazy you said that because my current employer is starting a vertical. So they're doing like a tax prep
Hmm.
vertical. And they're looking to put their name out there, right? How do we start on socials? What are we doing? How do we can we make content? Is content going to take time to create and things like that? And I sat there and I was like, I can do it all for you. You need me to do it, I got you. So
That's what I say.
listen, I was able to obtain an independent contract with them on the side doing their digital marketing. But
That's awesome.
I wouldn't have thank you. I would
Oh my God, I love that so much, Josie. I love that so much because that's what I tell people.
yeah.
When you get your digital marketing skill set in hand, you will never be broke again another day in your life. You
Nope.
will never be broke again another day in your life because, when I was running through this on live last night, we were talking about the small and local businesses, right? So many of them need help.
Yes.
They need help
Yep.
because when you're dealing with like your solopreneur, your small service provider, your small business, they got into business because they love the thing that they do.
Right.
Marketing is not something that they necessarily enjoy, love, or want
Mm-hmm.
to do, but they need it, right? Because I was born in the late 1900s, right? So I remember when there were white pages and yellow pages, right?
Yep.
Those don't exist anymore. First, they were replaced by anywho.com. You would go look
Uh-huh.
things up on anywho.com. And in recent years, I realized, does that even exist anymore? Does anybody use that? Because why? When you go to Google and you Google the name of the restaurant, it's going to it's going to show you a map of exactly where it is. It's going to tell you the hours and the days that it's open, if it's closed, and when it's scheduled to open again. It'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you what people think of it. It will tell you the menu if it's a restaurant. And so they need digital marketing, right? They need to know how to pull in people into their location when everybody is glued to their phone and they're
Yes.
paying attention to what's on their phone.
Absolutely. And another thing too, and I'm sure people have seen it on TikTok. You have people that go out to these restaurants. You have these influencers that are showing you,
Mhm.
these videos of the restaurants, what the ambiance looks like inside, the type of food that they serve, their drinks and everything like that. And then you can go to some of these same restaurants and some of their pages are just like bland,
Or
you
you
know?
tag them and they won't even reshare it because nobody's
Yes.
checking their social media and hasn't checked their social media in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's true. They can have so much more potential if
Hmm.
they had somebody providing that type of services for them.
Exactly.
So, even with the contract that I just obtained for my job, they're very excited, they're looking forward, and they're just like, thank God I don't have to hire somebody
Right.
or have somebody spend the time to do this. And I'm like, nope, I got it all. And the best thing, all the content is done for me already inside DBA. So I just have to just
Right.
recycle it.
Ain't that great?
I just
That
gotta
that's so
recycle it.
awesome. And
Yeah.
even with the influencers, you would be amazed at how many influencers are not building their email list. They're not building their SMS text message list. Like if TT is really, it does end up being banned, it's
Mhm.
going to be a problem for a lot of people who
Yeah.
are affiliates and influencers for TikTok Shop because they don't know who bought from them. They don't have a direct line
Nope.
to their quote
Mm-hmm.
unquote customers where they're getting their income from. The seller has that information. TikTok has that information, but they don't. So they still need to be building their email list, their SMS text message list so that they can. I get, direct a lot are directing the traffic over to Instagram, but you still want to be building your own list.
Yes.
You need to be building your own list.
You want
The
action.
money is in the list. The money is in the follow up. Because even with people joining DBA and 2 weeks later, I haven't made a sale yet. Like, first of all,
Yeah.
you need time, and if you're brand new, a lot of the people who are making sales within the first week or so, we have communities, we have networks. Have you tapped into yours?
Hmm.
Right? Have you tapped into yours, and have you, penetrated it enough to know that if they are really saying no or yes? So that's the first thing. The other thing is you need a way, and this is where I really went down the rabbit hole of digital marketing back in 2013 and 2014, because I came online marketing with over 20 years of sales marketing and leadership experience and all the education in the world, probably more than I even needed, right? But I had to learn the digital marketing piece. And what really drove me down the digital marketing piece trail was how to get people who'd already been to my content
Right.
back in front of my content so that I could nurture them and build that relationship and get the sale. And back then, everybody was teaching retargeting with the Facebook pixel. Well, now we're moving into a cookieless world, but so it really becomes a strategy of how do you get people back in front of your content, and that makes your email list ultra important. In
Hmm.
2024, you are 5 times more likely to convert a stranger into a buyer via email than you are from one social media post. You've got to get people back in front of your content and keep hitting them. What did we say? 28, 77 sometimes,
Yep.
in order to get them to buy. I've had people who were watching me on social media for upwards of 24, 36 months before they ever bought. And some even longer than that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the only way you fail, is to quit. You have to keep going. You have
Yeah.
to keep, I've had people unsubscribe from my email list and stop bringing this up to me. And then one day they get fired from their job. And now all of a sudden,
They're back on that list and they're back
yes,
subscribing to you. Yeah, that's crazy.
right? So you just
Yeah.
never know. You never know.
You don't. I like, and we have people that ghost watch. Some people that don't even
Mm-hmm.
hop into the lives. They're just keeping the
Yep.
live there on the page and not hopping in, which is okay, but we have people that do ghost watch and eventually they're jumping on 2 weeks later or a month later,
Yep.
or because that happened with me. I didn't start DBA until I was watching, I think it was maybe like the fourth or fifth live that I seen Brooklyn go on, and I was like ghost watching her.
Mm-hmm.
But I was finally like, you know what, enough is enough, and I need to take things into my own hands and create my own lane, and I want to learn something new, a lifelong skill set that I know that I can apply and actually benefit from in so many ways. There's so many ways you could benefit from
So
it.
much you can do with digital marketing. You could hone in on. I've been talking to a friend from high school, and he's like, oh, because he's a chiropractor, and he's like, I'm not in a position to hire you, but I certainly would if I could. But I know people in who are chiropractors, and I see what you do, and they need your help. And
Yeah.
so, he's really bringing me up to speed on that market and how to go and even specialize in chiropractors, right? You can do it with dentists, you can do it with med spas. There's so many different ways that you can take a digital marketing skill set. And like I said, never be broke again another day in your life. And then no matter what you do, you still want to always have some sort of digital product, because that is your 24/7, 365 opportunity to make money, whether you are present or not. Because
Yeah.
even you could treat like med spas versus dentists versus chiropractors all as different verticals, like you said, and you can hire out.
Yeah.
You can white label digital marketing services. People don't know that. You can white label. There are agencies out there that it's very inexpensive. You hire them and they do all the work, and you're literally just going out and selling and closing the deals, right?
Right.
And so that's still, a good piece of income that you don't have to be physically active in all day, every day, because who wants that?
Yeah, no. And I think people look at it as, they put these the digital marketing term into a silo. Digital marketing,
Hmm.
boom, that's it. That's all it is. No, there's so much you can do with digital marketing, and
Exactly.
it's not only so like the digital products or reselling them and things like that. If you take the knowledge that you're obtaining with digital marketing and you're applying it, like you mentioned, to these businesses out here and
Hmm.
treating them, obviously a dental office is going to be different than a med spa, but applying it in those ways and being able to provide services for a med spa and provide services for a dental office,
Hmm.
you're creating multiple streams of income for yourself.
Yes.
So you're removing that digital marketing out of that silo and you're breaking it up into pieces,
Right. Right. Yeah,
So
unfortunately, it's like there's becoming this stigma around digital marketing. It's like, are you crazy? And the thing is that a lot of the people who are generating this stigma and perpetuating it are actually digital marketers, which is the
yeah.
weirdest thing. Like, but you're digital marketing. So can we get rid of the scarcity mindset? Can we just all agree that there is more than enough for all of us to eat? Because as a seasoned marketer, I can tell you that the person buying DBA is 99.9% not your ideal client.
Right.
They're just not. They were not meant to be your customer. And so you need to examine your own business, who your ideal client is. And if you really feel threatened, then solidify your fort. And
Hmm.
do that by becoming better. Do that by imagining your marketing, doing some rebranding. And for some of them, raise your prices
Hmm.
because what you're offering shouldn't be competitive with DBA in the first place. It should be higher. And
Why not?
you're a little scared to raise your price because and I've gone through this. I actually created a whole course around it where you feel you're worried about raising your price that the people won't be able to afford it. Yeah, they will, because they
Hmm.
buying the crab legs, they
If they
buying the
want it, they'll
designer
get it.
purses. They got kids running around, and do they still wear True Religion and Yeezys and all that? If they can,
Jordans
the
and
money is there, and now with Klarna and Afterpay, so raise your pricing then
yeah.
if you feel that threatened by MRR. There's part of our role as marketers is to have our unique selling
Mhm.
proposition and to know what makes us different, and that's okay to communicate that. But to have to dog MRR,
That's just it's
that's just weird to me.
it goes with the insecurity of their own brand, right?
Hmm.
So you have to rebrand yourself. If you're sitting in a position where you're feeling as though the competition is too hot and you're like, nobody's going to come to me because X, Y, and Z is selling this and I can't compete with that. Well, maybe you need to relook at your branding,
Yes.
relook at how you're putting your materials out there, and take the time to learn more about not only yourself, but how you want to be perceived to your clientele, right? And
Exactly.
I think that a lot of people may look at digital marketing and they're like, oh, it's just selling digital products. There's more to it than that.
No. No.
There's a lot
So
more to
much
it.
more. Yeah.
Think, as you mentioned, especially with those individuals that feel threatened, is because they are putting digital marketing as just that,
Hmm.
digital products.
Right.
And that's where the insecurity comes because they're probably looking at it like, oh, well, I never looked at it in that aspect or, been able to apply it in that way that somebody else is applying it. And that gives them that sense of insecurity.
And
So,
that's why I watched all those lives so I could see for myself and make my
yeah.
own judgment of what it was and what it was not. And when
That's
I saw those little red boxes, because I love marketing, I was like, oh my god, that is so pretty. Oh my god, that is so good. I just love that. I gotta have
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. So it's definitely it's more there's more to it than meets the eye, right? And it
Hmm.
comes with being able to learn. Keep your mind open, still be
Yes,
willing to learn and willing to obtain new information. It's always going to be that way, especially
yes.
this day and age because there's so much information out there that people can apply in their day-to-day lives and a lot of people are not utilizing the resources and the outlets that we have to be able
Right.
to apply
And that's
that.
why I say digital marketing is not a business model. It is not a product. It is not an offer. It is a highly paid skill set. And I mean, and the data is out there, right? It's been in Forbes that digital marketing is the top paid career
Mhm.
of 2024. I always tell people, and I gotta go soon. like AI. AI is not going to take your job. It's the person who learns AI that's going to take your job. Because if you look at the data shows that companies are actually saying they're having a hard time filling the positions that are replacing the ones that AI is taking. There is a skill gap that not enough people know AI that and know, like prompt engineering is another top paid skill of 2024. If
Mhm.
you can learn and know how to generate prompts for AI, that is a top paid skill. And it does not require a college education because the college education for it doesn't exist. The college education lags. The college education for it isn't going to come until
Yep.
so many of the positions are out there, and the companies are working with the schools and saying, this is what we need people to learn and know when they come to these jobs.
Yep. And I'm just now realizing that that's happening with digital marketing. A
Hmm.
lot of colleges are starting to offer these digital marketing
Yes.
courses, and people are paying upwards of $2,500 to $10,000 just to get this certificate to be able to complete.
Exactly, exactly. When I graduated undergrad in 96, that was the first time that senior year was when we first got the internet in the labs at school.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
never even saw Google until the first night of my first master's class because I went through an accelerated program. And the
Mhm.
girl next to me had Google up. I had been using Yahoo and,
Yeah, I
and,
remember
and had
that.
just started using Yahoo from AOL. Google
Mhm.
hadn't even gone public yet. So, yeah, when I came online in 2009, 2013 with business, I didn't know the digital marketing piece. I had a strong, a rock solid marketing foundation and fundamentals that took me further and faster than most people. But when I hit that wall, I knew it was because I needed to learn the pieces of it, the aspects that were specific to online, which by the way are the same things as offline, but it's different software and different technologies that allow you to be able to do it. So yeah. Well, it's been fun chatting with you. We have to do this again.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah, I followed you back. Sorry, I get a lot of follows. I didn't even realize you
That's
had
okay.
followed. Send me a
No, you're
follow.
good. You're fine. It's all good. I don't mind it. But thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. It's been fun chatting, and I can't wait to do it again. I gotta go get my lunch because, girl, these places close up for lunch at like 1:30.
Oh, girl, go eat.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Enjoy your
I'll
lunch.
talk to you later, babe.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.